All right, if you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And Zoom attendees as well. Okay, first item is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear anybody who wants to make any changes or accept the agenda?
If there's no discussion, we'll make a motion to accept the agenda as it is.
Okay.
They'll make a motion. I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Next is public comment, and please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. Jeff? Sure. Please state your name.
Yep. Jeff Carey, Belfair, Washington. A couple quick things, some of more of the administrative. I was looking at the agenda, and I think you got A and B under action items backwards.
Oh, dear.
The payroll vouchers should be more than the water.
Let's see.
Just
Yeah, that's it's the water fund and payroll are backwards.
Okay.
That's what it is.
yep, no big.
Well, good catch.
Good catch, thank you.
Well, I was looking at it and saying,
Yeah.
what the heck did we do
Thank
this
you.
for?
And working for free these
Right, right.
days.
There's
All
a
right.
couple of things that got my attention there.
I
like-
see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're
Thank you.
Second thing is my favorite one, the minutes of the September 7th, 22 meeting. The word I wanted added was just the letter A, and it would have made it all, because I was concerned about public comment. There was no public comment. And I'm obviously not, it shouldn't read that I'm fine with the public comment we've had, because we've had none. All I was saying, if you looked at the original minutes, just add the letter A right before it. It makes perfect sense.
That was September, right?
No.
You said.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying, it got, I guess it'd be in your November 7th.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
But I'm saying, if you refer back to the 7th, you look, just add the letter A, and it'll be perfect. Because I was concerned about that, it didn't seem like there was much public comment or much questions from the board, or the commission, or what have you. So that was just my whole point in that.
Okay, I'll correct that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's, in the November 7th minutes under public comment, at the last line, the one where I was commenting, it says you, it should be T-O, not Y-O.
Hold on, let me find these.
You're forcing me to read these a little closer. You drop a letter and it says a whole different meaning.
Hold on a second, let me find these.
It's the last line under public comment.
Yeah, the last line of my comment under public comment. I guess public comment too.
Here we go.
It says as you keep, yo.
Oh, I see.
It's supposed to be two.
Are you understanding?
Okay, which one are we talking about here?
Last,
Under public comment.
On the 7th?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, let me bring it up.
I'm just trying to see how you word that.
It just should be T-O, not
Okay.
Y-O.
Yo.
Right.
It is kind of funny.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm looking at this and it says you're concerned the agreement for the purchase of the water system needs to be signed.
Oh, here's on similar public comment.
No, it's
It's the second page.
Oh, public comment, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
about tip cap, right?
Okay.
The headline on tip cap,
Okay.
Right.
just for you.
So he doesn't
As well as, yo, keep utility.
It's not my style.
That's pretty spirited there.
Not my style.
Hi, Travis.
Okay.
All right. So let's make those changes.
Oh, I see, okay.
All right.
And we don't have to get into this right now in detail, but I'll make it just quick and short. I tried to reconcile some things looking at the water budget And there's a number of questions that come up, and so I will try to work with your, with your director and try to get answers to, to what's, because I think it's just definitions, but I can't reconcile what I think should be happening when I look at your numbers.
Okay.
As an example, like, okay, is the 500K a grant or a loan? And I could ask that question of the board.
Yeah.
And then how that, in one part you're working it through and another part it's not. It doesn't make sense to me. And I can get it very nitty gritty here, but I don't want to type the board in that right at the moment. I'm just saying, there's things in the budget for the water system that don't seem to reconcile out correctly. And
Okay.
I'd like the board, or you instruct to look into it and make sure, because,
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
that's.
why don't you give me a call and I'll sit down with you?
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll make just a couple quick questions. The finance, and this may answer some of it. The finance charges, that's related to the general fund taking a loan from the water fund.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll catch you at the other end,
Yeah.
if you let us.
Sure.
Okay, because I have 2 more points, but yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Next?
Brad has his hand up.
Oh, okay, thank you. Brad?
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Brent Carey here. Sorry I couldn't attend the meeting in person.
Hey,
So I went online around noon today and to the board's website and was reviewing the budget hearing meeting minutes draft. And it appears that version of the draft has now been altered or missing. So, I mean, here's my problem with that. Public records are public records. And I think all 3 of you, actually all 5 of you guys understand the value of public records. It's important to preserve the integrity of the public record. And the version of the meeting minutes for that public hearing that I read were very disparaging to my reputation. And I thought at the closing of the budget hearing, I thought we'd at least put a lot of that stuff to bed and to rest. And based on what I read in that draft version, I'm retracting my offer to let it go. I believe that the settlement agreement that we have in place has been violated not only during the budget hearing, but also in that version of that publicly posted meeting minutes for tonight's meeting to be approved in the consent agenda item under the budget hearing. So I'm asking right now for the board to preserve that entire record of any draft that's no longer visible and the latest draft that's out there. And then when we go through mediation to resolve whether or not the port's in violation of the settlement agreement, we'll look at those different versions. So let this serve as official notice that the port needs to preserve the entire record. Okay. So, okay, thank you. Okay, now, the next thing that's important, and John, I know you know this one by heart. During a budget hearing, that's the public's chance to testify. Now, unfortunately, not very many people showed up for the port's annual budget hearing. 2 of us showed up to testify. But state law allows us up to 5 days to testify if we want to. Now, nobody's going to testify for 5 days. But while I was trying to testify, I was having my testimony interrupted. And in my opinion, in the opinion of others, my free speech rights were being violated. I was being interfered with. And we had this problem once before, where we're being interrupted, being told we couldn't talk about certain things. And so, once again, I'm letting the port know that I believe my free speech rights, my civil rights are being violated. And when someone's when I'm testifying and someone's saying, we're going to call the sheriff if you don't quit talking. Okay, I understand. That's concerning to me. So the bottom line is this, is you guys must understand that at a public hearing, you need to know these laws, and the laws that public hearing allows us to speak. In the case of a budget hearing, it's up to 5 days.
Excuse me, your 3 minutes are up, and Commissioners, I want to remind you about RCW 423005 allows two things, that if they go over the time, we can ask them to leave, or if they don't stick to the topic, that's another issue. So I would request that you stick to your 3 minutes, of which you have, and I thank you very much. We can have another public comment at the end, because that's our right, and we're not stopping you from speaking. You've certainly shared your position, and we understand that.
Oh, I understand what you're saying for tonight's meeting. I was talking about a public hearing now.
This is public comment now, and you have your 3
I
minutes.
understand.
Okay.
But I want to make sure the
Thank you.
commission knows that a public hearing is different.
Yes, we understand that, and we
Okay, good night,
understand.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ken?
Ken?
Good evening, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask that when you get to the consent agenda, that you table approval of the November 21st, 2022 minutes. I attended that budget hearing special meeting and testified, and the minutes that I read are not accurate, and you have disparaged Mr. Carey's reputation in those meeting minutes. They don't reflect that you folks admitted that you discussed attorney legal fees, budget line item 546-1041-005 at the special meeting held on 10/24, in which there was an executive session started before the rest of the meeting. Those deliberations were out of public's view and without public input, and you negotiated a change in a budget line item that the public should have been involved in. It also does not reflect that I was interrupted during my public testimony several times by the port staff, and I want a copy of those minutes that were posted this morning on the website. I can't find them, and I want to officially request a copy of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? I don't see anybody else. Barry? Nothing? Okay.
I'll speak it in the end. Good of your.
Okay. Okay, moving on. We have consent agenda items. As you see, there is the regular meeting minutes of November 7th, special meeting minutes of November 21st, of which they are revised. And the commissioners have had a chance to look at them.
Yeah.
The ones that were previous were not approved. They were draft. These ones are current in front of you. You've seen the new one,
Okay.
correct? You see
Yes.
this? Yeah.
So,
Comments, anything, what would you like?
Well, the minutes were changed, and I understand why, but I believe that discussion should be up to the commissioners to change the minutes, and we could do that by amending the minutes. We have 2 minutes out there, and I don't know what minutes are on the website. Was it the first minutes, or are they both on there?
The last version.
Last version, well, I got that today at about, I think at 1:24, and so either we amend it as a group to accept one of the two, and then preserving both documents, or the one that's out there that originally went out to the public, we just adopt that one, those minutes, with no changes.
with the changes that
That are current.
Jeff Carey wanted to make on there.
Oh, we're talking about the 21st one.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, and this, well, both of them, but let's
Okay.
talk about you're talking about the 21st.
Correct.
Okay,
The public hearing.
all right.
So we're talking about the public
All right.
hearing.
So, let's see if you guys, if you're okay with it. So I'll make a motion to approve the November 21st as it was posted on there with the change. And
The current one.
the current one, yeah.
Latest version.
And then also with the, for, out of respect for Mr. Jeff Carey, the two changes that he wanted to see on the November 7th, and approve those as such.
Okay,
I make that motion.
I'll make a motion, and I believe it. My comments is that we just preserve both documents.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll second.
All right.
okay. With those changes, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved, aye. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the action items, and thank you, Jeff, for catching
Yeah.
the reversal of that.
I'm highly embarrassed.
Well, you should be. Okay, no. That's,
So with
From
that
which
correction,
section?
does anybody want to read them with those corrections?
sure.
Okay, so, and you got that with, you know, the water, all that reversed.
It's A and B that's reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I make a motion to approve the payment of general fund voucher for the amount of $306.95. And I'm reading the B, that's a general fund voucher. And then the payroll voucher for $29,293. Wait a minute, something's not right here. Hold on.
Another typo.
Yeah, another typo.
So, Larry, take a look at that.
What is it?
A, general fund voucher,
Okay, here we go. So it's a typo in there. The actual voucher is $29,394.48, okay?
Correct.
And then C, the water fund voucher for $22,618.37. And I'm remembering this time to approve the use of digital signatures as well. Forget that.
well, first of all, what is that number for the general fund voucher? Can you verify that?
Yes. it's
General fund is
29,
29,
39448.
yeah.
Okay,
Right here.
394 what?
394.48 cents,
48 cents.
$29,394.48.
Oh, you know what it is, I know what happened.
I know what you
there.
did there too.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
too.
All right. So the math is right, the voucher's correct, the way we articulated that. So I make that motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
I'm correcting the other ones
All
right
right,
now.
good.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Commissioner reports. Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first. Attended the general and the special meeting. Also attended a couple of PRTPO meetings. Tomorrow we'll be doing our grant survey for projects for grants. I'll be working on those tonight. There's a couple of Mason County grants that have been submitted, so I'll be ranking those tonight, and we'll have our meeting tomorrow. And I'll let the board know what, or the commissioners know what we all come up with after the meeting tomorrow. But those have been very productive meetings, and looking at some of the projects that are on the list, one that would affect us here at the Port of Allyn is reconfiguring the State Route 3 North Bay intersection. Unfortunately, we don't have any funding for that in the state, out of the state budget, but I think that's one project that would benefit this community greatly and hopefully reduce the amount of collisions out there. I already put a bug in all three of our legislative members' ears on Saturday, and I think that's important. The other one we're looking at, of course, the freight corridor, but the intersection of Johns Prairie Road and State Route 3 there in Bayshore, and so that's another one that's not state fund, or doesn't have any funds in it, but that'd be something that I think would improve safety.
That kills people there.
I have personal experience being hit there, so.
Oh.
And that's it.
Okay, John?
I attended both the special and the general meeting for the November, and then my Mason Transit Authority, that it's separate, but I went to that as a board member as well, and that's all I got.
Okay, I attended, of course, the 7th and the 21st, the budget hearing, November 29th. I did was with Tammy Lane for the risk assessment audit. December 1st, there was this isn't port related, but it's in my district, DNR focus group. There's usually about 25 people that attend, multiple users. And the EDC was on November 10th, and one of those, they call it a super duper committee, but those are one of the projects about Johns Prairie Road, seeing what EDC can do to help out that area too. That's it. Okay, Executive Director's report.
Okay. Financial issues. Revenues continue to perform as expected for this time of year in this economy, so money and cash flow are tight. We've been approved for the line of credit, and there's a resolution on your agenda tonight to accept it. Also on the agenda for public hearing tonight are increases in the hookup fees for the water company and a resolution for an adjustment in the gazebo fee structure. Cash flow is a balancing act, but we'll be fine and can begin paying back whatever we borrow after we get the April tax receipts. As you can see from the general fund vouchers, we've also cut expenses to the bone and are deferring anything we can until then. The main high dollar item on the general fund vouchers was the second installment of our insurance premium, which was over $9,000. So 2023 will be a lean year with a tight belt. Person we brought in from Manchester Water Company, who does all their Springbrook accounting for both the water utility and the Port of Manchester to help with the reconciliations, has completed 2021 and is working on 2022. And she's going to meet with Leanne and start teaching her what she needs to know to do these correctly. Water system issues. I've submitted the application for the loan for Jeff Carey's water system. I was told we should have a decision within about a month. We may also need to either acquire or get an easement for some additional property at the well site for accommodating all the additional equipment. Jeff owns the adjacent lot and has agreed to work with us on either an easement or a purchase. As you saw at the groundbreaking, that lot isn't buildable but has a nice view, so what isn't used could make a nice pocket park. If we do need to acquire that property, I asked for enough in the loan application to cover half of it. Also, I'll submit everything for the well grant this week. Got comments back from the Squaxin tribe who agreed to approval if the county would agree to formalize a letter that was signed in 2009 concerning Sherwood Creek into a memorandum of agreement. I wrote the memorandum, sent it to the county commissioners, and it was approved and signed. We're also going to need a cultural resource survey on the well site, but that cost is reimbursable by the grant. Aspect Consulting and Northwest Water have also finalized everything to put this project out to bid, which we should be able to do once the state and tribes have signed off on everything, which I'm hoping is going to be this week. Security camera issues. Turn this over to Joe Brogan, who sent the vendor a demand letter telling him we want the equipment removed and the $18,000 we paid for the cameras refunded because he hasn't supplied all the cameras we paid for or completed the installation. Letter also said if he didn't respond, we would file suit. He tried to justify not refunding any money, saying that equipment costs had escalated and the $18,000 was used up. That doesn't fly when you run the numbers, and Joe told him so, but he's sticking to that claim. So we filed in small claims court in Kitsap County for the maximum $10,000 we're allowed. This covers the difference between the $18,000 advance for the purchase of the equipment, which we have possession of and that is installed according to the bid, and a portion of the attorney's fees we incurred dealing with them. Our trial date is set for December 28th at 10 a.m. Meanwhile, I met with another vendor who's done work for several other ports and I'm waiting on a bid, which I expect this week. If the existing equipment is reused and redeployed in a different way, it'll reduce the overall cost. Strategic Planning Initiative. When I first came here almost 8 years ago, we had no strategic plan. We hired a facilitator, convened a Saturday retreat to come up with one. Except for the Oyster House, we've completed all the projects we outlined at that time. We've put some new ones in our comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements since then, but if we're to set a direction for the next 5 years or so, we should sit down with a facilitator and discuss where we want to go and how to get there. Except for Commissioner Scott, neither of the other two current commissioners were involved in that original process, so this is an opportune time to move forward if you all are inclined to do so. You all rejected the proposal from Maul, Foster, and Lange last month due to the cost. However, County Administrator Mark Neary has agreed to be the facilitator. I'm waiting on him to send me some dates for his availability so I can share with you, and we can get this scheduled if you all want to move forward. Sign update. We got the reader board sign removed from the Market in Port Orchard, and it's down in Don's shop here. James Kelsey and Don took it down, delivered it here, which is what the invoice from James Kelsey was for on your vouchers. We're going to replace interior lighting, ballasts, and lamps while it's on the ground and get our logo on the face, as well as figure exactly where we're going to locate it. Our entire cost for this should run between $2,500 and $3,000 when we're finished and it's ready to turn on. One sign company estimated over $10,000 to do this. Kayak park. As directed, we've inquired about what our options are for surplusing the kayak park property. It seems no one at RCO is quite sure, but we've been trying to get a meeting of the minds together to figure it out. I'll have more when they get back to us, but wanted you all to know we are actively looking into it. Legislative days. We are Association of Washington Business members, and Wednesday, February 1st is the AWB Annual Legislative Day in Hillclimb. It's a day in Olympia at the legislature where members meet with individual legislators to pitch their projects and agenda. The next day, Thursday, February 2nd, is WPPA's Port Day in Olympia for the same reasons. So let me know if any of you want to go to either event so I can get you registered. Old business, Oyster House, nothing new to report on the building itself. Geoengineers straightened out all the confusion with the Army Corps permit we've applied for and been approved for the hydraulic permit for our Hood Canal facilities and for Allyn. However, we received a note from the county saying our shoreline permit has expired and we need to reapply. I sent a response explaining the work was delayed for 2+ years due to the delay in obtaining the Army Corps permit due to its jurisdictional dispute with the National Marine Fisheries Service. Also copied Commissioner Netherland, Representatives Griffey, Couture, and Senator McEwen, as well as Congressman Kilmer's office on my response asking for an extension. Representative Griffey made some phone calls, and I got a note back from the county asking for some information on the original application dates, with an indication that because the Army Corps issue, the county has some flexibility in dealing with this. As soon as I get the information and supporting documentation together, we should have an answer, which I'll share when I get it. Our goal is to get the pile driving out to bid as soon as possible, so hopefully we'll still be able to dry pilings during this year's fish window, which closes February 15th of next year. Timing is a critical issue for getting someone to bid on this, as well as getting the work done in a timely manner. Sweetwater Park, nothing new to report other than we had the property surveyed and posted no trespassing signs on the boundaries, along with installing several trail cams, which we are monitoring. We also got a hulk removal permit, so when the Salmon Center resumes the cleanup, they can get that off our property and dispose of it. The entire property remains closed to the public until the tree situation is completely resolved, which will happen when the park is developed and be paid for out of that grant. RCO is aware of the situations, agreed our actions are totally appropriate and acceptable to them. Kitsap All Ports meeting, next meeting's January 23rd. I will be taking the minutes for that meeting. So,
Thank you for that.
happy to answer any questions.
Travis, I'm sorry, I
I can
skipped
fit in
it.
wherever.
Okay, well, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Well, the Oyster House, we did get a volunteer for the electrical for the interior.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to put that in.
Yeah, I just want to let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Travis, oh, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
where is the All Ports meeting at this?
It'll
next
be
month?
at the Port of Brownsville.
Oh, okay.
That's where they always are.
Okay.
And, you guys are welcome to come. Commissioners are welcome.
Just gotta let you know so you can post it if we all decide.
Yeah, from where the one of you are gonna go.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go to RTPO, we didn't have enough for me to, notice it, so, sorry. Okay, Travis,
Okay.
thank you for waiting.
Yeah, of course. Travis Merrill, Port of Allyn Security. Well, we've got a new vessel that came to the North Shore at the first of the month. Or not the first, the third of the month. And it has no registration on it. It's a very nice new vessel. I'm sure that the owner is completely legitimate, but of course with port policy meaning that you need to have a registered vessel so we know who you are. We've left notices here at the end of the month because they've been paying almost daily. So they go down and use the machine almost daily, so it's probably somebody local, but we still don't know. So we've left a notice letting them know that, you know, I've left, this is the third notice. Okay, it's not the first one.
And they haven't contacted?
And they haven't contacted the port whatsoever, so.
Is it a brand new boat?
It's a brand new boat.
Oh, so the
Yeah.
registration is still in the making, maybe in the making thing? You know.
By now they
Is it
should have,
numbered
they probably
properly?
got it, or at least every note said, please contact the port.
Okay,
You know, to at least let us know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no communication.
I see.
There's no WN number on it?
No, no whatsoever.
Interesting.
And it's a brand new Boston Whaler Dauntless 270.
Okay.
So we're giving it until Tuesday before we proceed with like a chain notice. And we're also watching the payments that are coming through to make sure that they've been down there since then. In 27 days, they've missed 5 daily payments. So they paid a lot, but still, we're trying to work that out.
Yeah, okay.
That's the only real issue, other than I was off for a few days for the birth of my son.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. What's his name?
Tiberius.
Tiberius.
Wonderful. How much did he weigh?
8 pounds, 12 ounces.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm tired all the time now.
Yeah. We all know how that goes.
Get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And other than that, I mean, the park has been really light. Most people don't even try parking inside the gates at night. They literally see the signs and they park outside the gates sometimes, and I check on them every time. Sometimes they try parking in front of Barry's and I shoo them away from there. I'm like, no, go park under the lights over there where, you know, our boat traffic area is. You know, if you're gonna park down here, I know you're not doing anything wrong. You know, usually they've got a really good reason. Sometimes they're just trying to get away from the house for a minute, or they just generally it's a judgment call, you know. And as long as they're parked outside our facility, as soon as I leave, they're just gonna come back if they really want to. So.
But as long as you're making notation of what that vehicle is in case something did
Oh
happen,
yeah, no, I
you're
take
good.
I just keep
Do
pictures.
you go at all different kind of times? You're not.
I try.
Okay.
You know, it really depends.
Yeah.
It depends on how my schedule works out and how I
Sure.
can get down there, you know, where it's working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of times I hit it later at night on the weekends than I do during the week.
Okay.
And but with being able to lock that gate up, it prevents a lot of our responsibility.
It's helping, yeah.
It was a good thing we did.
Okay.
Good.
Before I forget, on security, I noticed today when I pulled in that somebody drove down through this way again. That's the second time that's happened.
Drove down which way?
Behind the
Where I
building.
park, so they go right through
Oh,
here.
you're
How do they
kidding.
do that?
You can drive down there. We used to
Okay.
have a big log there and Casey knocked it down.
We need to get in a big log there.
Well, I think we need to
Log
put
or
fencing
something.
up.
Oh, they
out
right there
here.
through the grass?
Yes, and
Oh,
Donnie
my
noticed
goodness.
it before, but I could
I
see
saw
it.
tracks there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
But,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
talked about putting a fence there at one point.
It's a good way to get
Yeah, when
started.
we had
never-
the water
Yeah,
theft,
they
that's where
did.
they came
They
through
filled out a
and
little
walked
bit,
down
yeah.
to
Oh,
the
it
water
was?
front.
Yeah, well, they walked down, they didn't bring their
Yeah.
vehicle that way.
But that's how they got in,
Okay.
so.
Sheriff Casey knocked it over.
Well,
You
it's
know,
good to know, Leanne. Let's shore that up.
I think just, putting that little section of fence in there would be a good idea.
Until we
Yeah.
do that, let's just get a big log and put it in there or something.
Yeah, I didn't even notice any tracks.
Yeah.
Not that they won't move
One
it,
parked there now.
but- okay.
Okay.
All right.
Um,
Any
in
other
regard to
questions?
this- Well, I think he has a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the fence, I'm sorry, on the fence, nobody's as quite as old as I am, except maybe Larry and I are about the same, but there used to be a fence there. Allyn days, when I was in that, we asked to have that removed so that some vendors and some people could come through there. So there was a fence there, so put the fence back
Yeah,
up.
we
We
should
don't
do that.
need it anymore for Allyn days.
Right.
I think we may have some extra fence that we took down from someplace.
There is
that
some
we
down
could-
by the maintenance
That we
shed.
could put up there. I'll
Yeah.
talk to Don about it tomorrow.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks, Travis. Congratulations again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
expect to be tired for the next 5 years, right?
I'm hoping on 3. The law of averages on that.
Raising children is like growing up all over again yourself.
Okay, on to new business. The approval of the resolution 2022-015, which I have
Yeah.
a copy of that. Do you have a copy
I
of
do.
that?
You're right here. If you want. So, I've looked at them.
We have the GO bond here. That's, I mean, the LTGO bond. Just a second here, I'm looking for the resolution.
It's,
I did have a question on that, no?
yeah, it's the resolution is, I don't know, 10 pages long.
Oh,
or
is that what
something.
that was then?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do understand the bank required that, right?
Right.
But it's interesting, it's not the same
The bank
bond
and
for the
state
amount of
law,
bond
the
credit.
bank and state law and,
Yeah, all that.
yeah.
But it's not the same amount the bond is for the actual loan.
No, the loan, the actual, it's, the bond
Line
is
of
for
credit.
up to that amount.
Okay,
The loan will be for however much we
Yeah.
use.
Hopefully
and that's all they
borrows.
wanted.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it,
This is a
okay.
requirement.
Yeah.
And we want to thank, K&L Gates, Cynthia Weed has been very helpful.
I'm sorry?
Cynthia Weed has been very
Yes.
helpful with this, because.
Yeah, she's been wonderful.
She's done, helped navigate other courts through this process.
Oh,
as well.
really?
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
meet her at the annual meeting also.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
she's always there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just let everybody know that this has not been taken lightly.
No,
No.
not by any stretch, exactly. But,
Did you have a question?
well, on the copy I received,
Mhm.
it has resolution 2002. It should be resolution 2022.
Oh, it does. Another mistake,
Yeah, what?
another mistake.
What?
Resolution number 2002, and it should be 20022.
I'm seeing it right on here, but, oh, on here?
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know that that's our mistake.
So that was,
Yeah, that came in a pre-formatted thing to me, and I just filled in the date.
okay, all
So
right. Well, we should probably find out.
I'll get that corrected.
Okay, thanks for catching that.
I can read the resolution with that correction.
Sure.
With the correction of resolution 2002, change to 2022-015. Resolution of the Port Commission of the Port of Allyn, Mason County, Washington, provided for the insurance and sale of a bond to evidence a line of credit in the principal amount of not to exceed $220,000, providing the date, form, terms, and maturity of the bond, authorizing the designated port representative authority to manage the line of credit, and approving the sale of such bond. It's 10 pages. Do we want to go?
no.
No, because
There's a
it's,
table of contents, so we just need to make that one change. And
How much is that bond costing us? I know, I'm just.
It depends on how much we draw from it.
Okay, okay,
And we pay the interest twice a year.
okay, I did see that explained, but I didn't understand it. Got it,
Yeah.
okay, true.
So that's the way it works.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve, well, should we just do these one at a time?
yeah, the
Okay.
resolution, well, we're on resolution number
Yeah.
2022-015.
Correct, and so I'll make a motion to approve that resolution 2022-015.
And I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay, we are, now we close the regular meeting and go to a public hearing for the water system, the adjustment of the water system residential and commercial connection fees. So we're gonna close the regular meeting,
Okay.
open it for public comment. Hi, Jeff, yeah, we public comment. Okay,
All right.
Would you like me to read this narrative first?
Yeah,
Because it
Yes.
may impact his, okay.
yes. Please do.
All right, our current revenue streams, like Shelton, Manchester, Washington Water, and others, we currently charge a minimum base rate to residential and commercial customers before water usage. Our 3 scales of usage are the same for commercial and residential customers, 0 to 500 cubic feet, and just so you know, 100 cubic feet equals 748 gallons, 501 to 1,500 square feet, and 1,501 and above. These rates adjust annually on a scale adopted in 2019 and running through the end of 2024. These need to be reviewed and reevaluated before the beginning of 2025. Current development and hookup fees. Our current residential connection charge is $52.50 per 3/4 inch line connection. A connection is based upon one equivalent residential unit, ERU, and is supposed to represent the cost of capital improvements for upgrade and expansion of the system. We have no current commercial connection charge, and we never have had one. Our current charge is the cost of time and material to bring the hookup to the meter, plus a 15% administrative fee. This fee includes excavation, service tap, meter box, meter installation, and tests. Future system and development fees for connections larger than 2 inches and fire sprinkler service will be determined at the time by individual consumer developer needs. So here's my recommendations for what we should do. In reviewing the residential connection fees, we are by far the lowest cost municipal water system in Mason, Kitsap, and Thurston counties, and not by just a little bit either. As our system grows and our eventual maintenance liabilities will grow as well, we need to be certain we can build enough reserves to cover the cost of future system equipment and infrastructure failures without using reserves, interfund loans, or outside financing. Therefore, we recommend the Commission adopt the following rate schedule effective on December 10th. Residential connection fees, $84.95 plus the current 15% administrative fee on the hookup, service tapping, meter box, meter installation, and any and every other product and/or service required to make each connection to the system active. Commercial connection fees up to 2 inches, $10,000 for connections up to a 2-inch main single line meter connection tapped from a main system distribution line, plus the current 15% administrative fees on the hookup, line tapping, meter box, meter installation, any and other product and/or service required to make each connection to the system active. The developer, customer, or owner is responsible for the cost and installation of any and all fire hydrants as required. And then we go the same thing on connection fees up to 4 inches. That would be $25,000, and commercial fees above 4 inches would be $40,000.
Okay, so what can you explain to me the commercial fee as opposed to? I mean, these are all residential we have up here.
Right. Well, commercials use more water than residents.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
So you're saying in the future, if some commercial entity comes in, we're looking at that?
Yeah.
Because
And
we don't
there
have it.
are some projects on the drawing board already.
Okay. And these.
And that's what's prompted this.
Okay.
Because I've been asked for what is the commercial rate on one project already, and I know we have another one coming that I'm going to be asked as well. So
That's good, looking ahead like that, that's really
yeah,
cool.
well, that's my job.
I know, no, it's good. My other question is, so these connection fees, that's getting passed, like the builder up there.
Yeah.
So he has to pay, this is what he has to pay when he builds and hooks up.
Right. His residential ones will go up from $52.50 to $84.95.
Okay.
$84.95 is cheaper than anybody in Mason County at this point.
Right.
And anybody in Kitsap or Mason. You
Okay.
know, City of Port Orchard just raised theirs, and I know they're over 10,000. I'm not sure how much
Is the
they
builder
are.
catching up right now at all?
Pardon?
Is the builder catching up right now?
Yes and no.
Okay. All right.
But, I think this is a reasonable increase. It doesn't go off the deep end, but it does, bring us close to everybody else. But the commercial ones are the main issue for me with this one.
Yeah.
Because the memory care center, they've asked for a rate and we didn't have a rate.
Yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
then it looks like there's gonna be a brewery here in Allyn. And they're gonna need water, and they're gonna need a lot of water.
Yeah.
So, we may end up extending the lines there. So, it's gonna be a substantial project for the water company.
And there's a good study on this to determine and make sure that we're not sucking the aquifer dry, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The aquifer's in good shape.
Yeah.
We're not worrying about that.
Okay. Right.
Being this is, any comment, Ted?
I don't.
Being it's a public hearing, would you like to just address anything?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Jeff Carey, Belfair, and as the board knows, I have more than passing interest, I've been involved with planning in Allyn for a long time. And so the points I'm making aren't necessarily critiquing this, but it's points I've made to the county when it came to sewer in a different direction. In other words, I'm looking at this, first of all, the port needs to be covered its costs, and I don't have any disagreement with that. I think the port does need to address the commercial issue. Not all commercials use more water than residential. When we actually do planning and I've been involved with that since with my water system and what have you,
Yeah.
that actually residential in like retail and business and those kind of things actually uses more, whereas obviously a brewery or industrial or other needs, they'll use more.
Yeah.
So there's those types of things. More often than not, commercial needs water quicker in a short duration, but more volume quicker. And that's usually the issue, like sprinklers and things like this and what have you. So I'm supportive of the port laying this out for commercial because I think it will help people that want to develop commercial projects in Allyn and what have you. My bigger concern is the residential because, like it or not, Allyn's only growing so far in residential, and I'll probably do so for a long time. And I personally, looking at the different things, and look what's stated here, believe that further study, further evaluation of what the impact of what you're proposing would do to affect, residential development. I've seen, as a bystander, from the standpoint of developer and some of the things they're involved with when they're bringing extensions into the port system. An example is the feed off of Wheelwright onto what they call Drum Street and Sullivan, that's Sealand Homes that's involved with, for approximately 30 homes over the, there's 17 or 18 homes right now coming on, and then there'll be further homes coming on. That developer is basically building you a system. It's a tap, it's designed by an engineer, being tied in, worked with your Northwest Water and what have you. And, when you look at it, back at the 30,000 foot view, you have a developer committing a significant amount of resource to giving you trunk lines and basically connecting it up all the way. And as an example, I'd say, look at your budget, look at your expenses and see what you are really putting into this when you do make a connection. Because if I look at the numbers that I've seen so far in the budget and I look at this report, in my view, they don't match up, they don't reconcile. I don't say that they should be not raised or lowered, either way. I believe that all utilities need to set aside reserves for expansion and things. These capital facilities charges are for the future, not for the maintenance and operation. And as a case in point, like we know, I know, Judy, from the standpoint that, like Mason County, when they did a sewer, which is different utilities, not water, but it's a sewer. Actually to this date, they haven't really set a reserve for those capital facilities fees. So those $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 connect fees, they're going to M&O. Now, right now, they're running surplus. But there is no set fund, and I've been lobbying it for 18 years to get the county to do that, because I believe if that's done properly, when you expand, you won't have to raise rates on the ratepayers. You only have to raise it by what, your insurance and all the maintenance and operation goes. But I just don't think, I look at this, I understand where you're coming from. I have looked at other rates, like Russellwood and Beards Cove, and they are lower connection fees. I'm not saying they're equal to what the port's providing, but I'm saying they do have a different rate structure as far as, connection fees. Yes, it's a different environment. They're truly all residential, not any commercial. And I don't have a problem with higher rates for, bigger service and what have you from the standpoint of commercial. But I look at this and if I was the board, in my view, they should seriously address the commercial and do further review to the residential. And then the other question I have is, these go into effect December 10th. Is that prior to water availability letters? In other words, the water availability letters already been given to different developers to do things. Is it at this new rate, even if they haven't built yet, or connected up, or are they under the old program? That'd be one question.
Right.
They would, anything that hasn't been built, any new permit would fall under the new rates.
You say there's two different words that mean two different things there. Haven't been built or permit.
Yeah.
And
It's permitted, if it's permitted already, that
That's
would
what I'm
fall
talking
under.
about.
okay, so in other words, if the port provided water adequacy for somebody to go get a permit, whether they wrapped it up or not, they're still under the old regime as far as numbers, or not?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think
In other words,
Yeah,
the
I
port
know what
provides
you're talking about.
provides a water adequacy notice
Right.
before somebody builds.
Right.
When they provide that, let's say they don't immediately build something, okay?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like Steel Line Homes, they got going
Yeah.
a bunch and haven't built a bunch.
Yeah.
Are they gonna be under the new rate or the old rate?
Anything that has not been permitted will be under the new rate.
Okay, so for example, they have 10, like, there's a center section there of 10 houses on that area, so you're saying those 10 would be under the new?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I would seriously, I would ask the board to really look at that.
Well, something else to consider is, when they started building up there, the prices were $245 to $275.
I know.
Now they're exceeding 500,000.
I know, but
So-
if you look at the other side, please look at the big picture, that's all I ask.
Yeah.
I don't disagree that the prices are different.
Mm-hmm.
I just say, look at the big picture, because they've been pushing different things, and I'm kind of a contrarian, where I look at different things from a different viewpoint, from the standpoint of both private and the public sector, how you look at, it's just the way I'm oriented. It's like the good, the bad over, and the good and the bad over here. But look, if you take like Stetson Heights, which is off of Sedgwick Road in Port Orchard, they're slowing down. You look at Magnolia Heights, I think, or Magnolia Ridge Heights, or something like that. That's on the east side of the Highway 16. They have room there for about 100 to 120 homes. Again, no new concrete foundations, so they've kind of slowed down. All I'm really getting at is, look at the big picture. Do no more than just evaluating other utility districts. Look at really what your costs are and make it cost effective, because in the end,
We get it, yeah.
just one last point. Believe it or not, just $3,200 difference adds $20 a month to people's payments, when they buy them on 30 years. So I'm just saying,
Right.
it all adds up. And so I'm not asking the port to give anything away, but I'm trying to say, try to cut the line where we're all.
Not be, yeah, I totally understand.
So-
And just to grab the big picture, not to be a part of the slowing down that's occurring by making it more expensive than
Right.
everything else already.
And I'm not saying to make it
Yeah.
cheaper. I'm not saying to make it cheaper. I'm just saying,
I know.
you got costs,
But I also understand they're putting in infrastructure too.
yes, and I mean, they're putting a
Yeah.
boatload of
Yeah.
infrastructure.
The way you
Yeah.
started out.
So I mean, they literally,
Okay.
the way I look at that one section at least, you're getting connections and the port and the public are having not to pay anything to get it.
Well, that's noted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, thank you. So, I do appreciate about the commercial connection fees, and do you want to table some of the other? Oh, Barry, I'm so sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was thinking about the good of the order, and all of a sudden water came up here,
Yeah.
and the sizing and stuff. And, Barry Betzinger from Allyn. Anyway, that was, of course, what I did, mostly commercial water systems inside an industrial facility and stuff. But so when we were talking about the residential, I didn't have any, I was calm. When Larry mentioned a 2-inch line, I squirmed just a little bit, but then when he said brewery, I felt better again. But still, really, some of these commercial establishments, even with a new well, okay, we have one storage tank, and if somebody comes in, and I don't know what the numbers are on the brewery, what they expect, but we should get something in this addendum or whatever we're doing here, that if the commercial business comes in and asks us for more water than what we need, than what we can provide, okay, they need to bear, at least some of the costs, if not all. I mean, Intel had come into a community that they decided on and asked for 1 million gallons a day. Now, I'm not saying Intel is anything close is going to come in, but it may come to the point that we'll need another pump, we'll need another tank, we may need another well, and that really adds up to a lot of money. So let's make sure we cover our bases, and any commercial buildings coming in know that when it gets to a certain point and we have to start buying this capital equipment, if we do, that they need to share in some of that somehow. So that's just a comment.
Thank you.
Something I would like to bring up there. At some point within the next 5 years, I expect we're going to have to build another storage tank. And where we're going to build it is a question, because we're going to have to buy a piece of land, we're going to have to run lines to it, and plus the cost of building it itself, and it's not going to be cheap.
And it has to be high as hell.
I see.
Yeah, plus it's got to be up on a hill. Yeah.
I see Ken has his hand. Ken, would you like to speak to address this situation? Ken, do you hear me?
Yes, I did. I didn't hear any discussion in the director's narrative about comparison with what Belfair Water District does. Do you have those figures?
I don't have them off the top of my head, but the last that I remember from a couple, I want to say 3 years ago, they were at 7,700 per connection.
Yeah. I'm looking at
And I know
that
it's
too.
gone up since
Yeah.
then.
I was just curious why you use the Port of Manchester when Belfair Water District's a little bit closer and might be more comparable. Yeah.
Belfair's rate structure is different than ours.
Demographically. Well, anyway, I just, I don't, I'm not in the Allyn Water District, and don't ever intend to be, but I think it should be, you might want to consider partnering with Belfair Water District. In the future, there's obviously going to be development between Belfair and Allyn. That's just my 2 bits worth. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are the designated water provider for the Allyn UGA.
Yeah,
So we're going to be the one delivering the water.
that we need to.
And we're not going to have to compete with anyone else. That will be our service area.
Okay. comments? Commissioners? Thoughts?
No, I asked my questions already. I'm good.
My comments is that I need a little bit more time to do some research. I don't know what Lakeland Village, I should know, because there's a home or property being developed up there, what they're charging. And there's lots going on Homestead that are outside the Lakeland Village Water District, those 3-acre lots that they're selling up there. And I'm looking at what Mr. Carey and Mr. Butchinger said, is that, just expansion of our line, who's gonna pay for all that, for those lots? And that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a long run, so.
Yeah, I really appreciated Jeff Carey's comment on that too, so that's why I wanted to look at this a little bit more.
Well, I need to give the Memory Care Center a number this
yeah,
week.
That's true. Well,
What you could possibly do would be to adopt this without changing the residential number and revisit that at some point in the future.
actually, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I would be good with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that also.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we need a motion.
Okay.
No, we need to be back in the meeting.
What's that?
We need to
Oh,
go
now
back.
we're gonna, yes.
Okay.
Jeff, sorry.
Hearing's still open, right?
Yes, the hearing's still open and we will, that's right, we need to close the hearing. Thank you.
But that wasn't the reason I was,
Thank
wanted
you.
to say something.
Okay.
I don't disagree with what Larry's laying out as far as the premise that, that you need something for these two individuals for the commercial. One other out is, and I don't know where it works out.
You should probably talk up there, or,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So,
Yeah, no problem. Where I was going is this, is that the county, when they did like sewer, and I know people, when I talk water and sewer, it's like, two plants, okay, separate plants. But one way they handled a lot of their sewer things, especially with commercial, is they looked, when a engineer came to it and said, okay, what's this structure using for water, and what's its demand? So there's an instant demand issue and what their general consumption is. Then they kind of came up with some regs, like for church of a certain size, you have this many ERUs, and then they started ratcheting it up. So like you might have, like restaurants were like, unless otherwise proven, like one ERU was like a booth of 6. So every booth of 6 was like an ERU. So if you had 10 booths, you had 10 ERUs. Well, remember the hotel project, how many?
yeah.
Remember there was a fair number of ERUs there.
Mhm.
And that would give you another angle as far as
Of rate, you mean?
correct. Another way of comparing and saying, okay, yes, here's our justification for, a rate structure, what have you, if you're looking for one. But I totally agree that you need to address the commercial, and it is so variable because some will need very little water but need a big demand real quick, and others might just need lots.
Well, that could probably go, I think I would agree with Larry, we need to jump on this to make a decision, but on the other hand, the details of those connections do need to be engineered, and we can tweak some of those, I think, down the road.
I think that, first of all, I think if they're coming to you, I know what we would do if somebody's, when we were the water purveyor, and I've looked at other, entities and how they do it. They should have some idea of a plan from their engineer, their structure,
Right.
what their demand structure is. There is no way you can just like give a number, and I would recommend that once you get that, don't just give a number, then work with your engineer to make sure
That's
that what you're
appropriate.
doing is
Yeah.
appropriate, cover it, because I'm not saying you would, but you might overlook something. And, I've raised issue, like at the last meeting, I raised the issue about looking at how to approach your tank and maybe get another 100 connections out of it without spending a dime, except a little bit of engineering time. So,
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, seeing no other, Debbie, do you have any? Just checking. Okay, public hearing is closed. We'll go back to the regular meeting. So, commissioners, what would you like to recommend?
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 different tiers of the commercial connection fees. And the residential fee, I want to put to the side for now and leave that alone.
Okay, leave it as current.
Leave it as current.
All right.
I'd like to look at that more.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, what I will do at the next meeting, I will bring you a list of other water systems and their connection fees.
Include the Belfair too, just for the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
Of course I'd include that.
I was trying to find them. I mean, I went on UTIA, utilities.
I basically
They don't give you
called the
anything?
manager and said,
Okay.
how much is this?
Yeah.
You know.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Alright.
what I'll do is I'll put together a
Yeah.
matrix of it like I've done for, like when we did the wedding rates and all that. I'll give you the same kind of
I
thing.
don't know why, I'm trying to put in something too, and I think Belfour Water is really, really up there.
Yeah,
It's way high.
yeah. I mean, they're more than
I
that.
think it's 14,000.
payer of bill for water is highway robbery.
Yeah, I know they think their water's gold. I shouldn't say
I
that because
pay as
I'm
much
a
as
customer.
$313 for my business.
Yeah,
A month.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Now we are on the resolution 2022-017, the gazebo rental rates.
Yeah, what we're doing there basically is we had three rates, a half day, a full day, and an hourly. And the hourly was a 2-hour minimum at $150. Well, that just really hasn't worked out. And what we'd like to do is just eliminate that and just keep the same half and full days.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that for sure.
I'm good with that.
So do I hear a motion to approve resolution 2022-017?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-017 regarding the gazebo rates.
Do I hear a
And I'll
second?
second that motion.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay, discussion to set a date for a special Zoom meeting with our lobbyist to discuss the 2023.
She could not be here tonight,
Okay,
and she's over in Eastern Washington, and she wants to give us kind of a preview of what the legislature is going to do, but also wants to know what we want to do. You know, what do we want to ask for? And what I have suggested to her is that we ask for planning money for replacing the pier.
oh, yeah, okay,
You
yeah,
know,
great.
that's gonna be an expensive project, it's gonna take a long time, but you know, we need to get started now, because we're probably not gonna be driving pilings for several more years.
Yeah,
Right.
So, that's what I'm looking for. She sent me some times,
okay,
so, you know, I don't know if this works for you, but
Sure.
anytime on Wednesday, the 14th, Thursday, the 15th before 1, Friday, the 16th before 1, the 19th through the 21st before 1, all work for her. And what we would do would be just a Zoom meeting.
the week of the 12th, I'm pretty well jammed, the classes and, you know, the Christmas party for everybody. So the week of the 19th, sometime during that would be
Yeah, that's better
better
for
for
me
me.
too. I'm
How about
going,
you,
I'm going
Ted?
out of
Yeah,
town this week.
except the 21st, I won't be available on the 21st.
What did you
Okay.
say, the 19th?
Yeah, the week of the 19th, hold on, let me get there. Yeah, the 19th before 1 o'clock.
That's a
Yeah,
Tuesday,
that would be,
isn't it?
no, it's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Oh, is it?
That would be great for me.
Well, let's go ahead and do that. I can't confirm that for me yet.
Okay, we'll say the 19th at say 10 a.m.
Sounds
Would
great.
that work?
Sure.
Yep.
All right, let me text her real quick and tell her.
Thank you for the reading glasses, Leanne.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna look for a different style. Thank you.
Those are Costco packs.
Yeah.
So let's tentatively set
19th.
that unless I hear back from her that it doesn't.
All right.
She said before 1, so.
Okay,
And then I'll just schedule a Zoom meeting for it, and, you know, it should be relatively quick as well. Probably 20 minutes maybe.
okay, that's great. Okay, next, anything else? Okay, good of the order?
We got public comment or-
Oh, well, it's not in their agenda, but we can do a public comment. I see Ken just raised his hand, so go ahead, Ken.
Thank you, Commissioner. The public meeting that Zoom meeting that you just said, that is a public meeting?
Yes.
Yes, it would be. Mhm.
And are you going to advertise a link to that?
Yes, we would.
That'll be agenda.
Yeah,
And that's on the 19th?
that is correct.
Okay,
So far,
Tentatively,
tentatively.
until we hear from her.
Because we have to verify that with the lobbyist. Is it?
and when and where will it be advertised?
We have to alert the press 24 hours before, but we'll alert them as soon as we know it's concrete.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd appreciate an email about it if you think about it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff Carey. As you know, time passes on and it keeps moving along. Larry's had in his water systems report about this lot that's adjacent to, I let Larry know that here recently, the tax bill went up on it. So I inquired about it, did a little research on it. And the reason it's gone up is basically there's only one variance that would be required to build on it.
Really?
Really.
Did they say what the variance was?
Well, and it's a setback of just one little bit of corner, and it's it's less than the setback Sealand Homes has asked on one of their corner lots. So it probably would go through because it's happened before. So I'm not trying to jack the board around, but I'm letting you know that it went from when Larry and I first discussed it, it was, in my mind, just as his, unbillable, and you saw it. And then I saw the tax statement come by for this year's or next year's taxes, and like they went up like 6 times, and I was like, okay, I need to look at it because it was cheap before, it was unbillable. So then when they saw that, so that I did some inquiring with, and then looked at the report to the point that somebody's heavily looking at it, but so we're gonna have to work at it, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm still agreeable that we need to work at it, but it's not that it's not unbillable, so it's gotten a little more complicated since the passage of time.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, Ron Griffey owns the property on the other side, so I think
Really?
we should talk to him
So-
as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I have no heartburn either way. So it just letting the board know that yes, this was a position at a moment in time.
Yeah.
Things keep migrating along.
Sure.
And I let it go last meeting. I said, I better say something.
Yeah.
This meeting
I'm glad you did.
because it's changed over the last 90 days. Once I saw the statement, it's like, because before it was, I think it was appraised maybe at $2,000.
And not now.
No, not
6
now.
times that?
No, now it's. no,
How
it's-
big is that lot?
Square feet, it's
Yeah.
about 5,400 square feet.
Oh, okay.
But it's a deceiving little situation there
Sure.
because you got triangles, you got slope, you got all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Something else we might want to look at is how far back our lot goes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just instead of putting it next to it, put it behind it.
It's a tough, Larry and I have discussed it.
Yeah.
It's a tough location you got there, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
But, and Larry and I have discussed also the issue about setbacks. What does the port really need? What can we work with? Maybe there's a way to make it work,
Sure.
so that it's not cost prohibitive, but at the same time that it's in the middle of the road, so to speak.
Will it be another location for a tank?
We'll figure it out. We
Maybe
need
not,
to.
huh?
We have to. We have no choice.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Never say no, but
Right.
or never say never. But we want to improve the color of it or something to make it a little more attractive.
There was trees in front of it.
Well,
when it
no,
was built.
not necessarily. I've learned that trees aren't also. They can be a 4-letter word.
Yeah.
When it comes to roots, especially redwood trees.
Yeah.
You don't want roots intruding into our water lines.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, this side note, we had, down below, we had a little rental house, and we had a well with a redwood tree. That redwood figured out how to go towards the well and down on the footing drains. I chopped them off, and it kept going. I mean, I literally dug out the whole foundation, or around the foundation, chopped them off. It still kept coming. It still, I mean, I put the root killer stuff, it stopped it, but it, new shoots. I mean, it was that bound and determined. I mean, I couldn't believe the roots, I mean, this big around, getting in and around the well, in and around the footing. It went wherever water is gonna congregate.
Right.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
no joke about roots.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Barry?
Barry Betzinger, Allyn. This being the last meeting of the year, again, I want to thank the board, the Port of Allyn, for all of the good things that you've done this last year. I really applaud everything that has happened. Some things probably could have happened if you know, money situations were different and things like that, but a great job, and y'all should be commended. I was a little concerned, and I'm sorry I couldn't attend the budget meeting, but just listening and knowing that part of the budget is responsible for some of the overruns and things that happened, and that's why money's so tight. That's what I'm understanding. And I applaud Jeff when he first came in and made a comment this morning that he had a few little points, and he and Larry agreed to meet on it. And months ago, when I first got up and talked about why is all this going on and people aren't sitting down and communicating, I applaud that when you do that, because that's really how to solve a problem well, and you have to agree and commit, So I still wish there was more of that. As a taxpayer, everybody in the Port District should be concerned because of these overruns and the reasons for some of these, and unexpected, And I'm concerned. Thank God we paid our house off when we did the remodel, but and as fixed income, you have to watch your P's and Q's a lot of times. But I just really hope that something will work out in the future where there is more communication and less things that you need to run off on and do when you can be doing, you can be crossing the T's and dotting the I's and the other things that the port does. So I guess I'm just reiterating what I spoke of several months ago, but here rears its ugly head again. So I'm sorry for things that you had to go through, but we all have our down days. The new brewery will help.
Thank you, Jerry. Travis, anything? No? Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, I don't have anything.
I do. I think it should be under good of the order. I've done a lot of the training. I did a couple of them this year on doing minutes, Jurassic Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
And I can send you guys a link to one of them that discusses minutes, and you just do motion minutes. And since we have these all recorded and all of the discussions are absolute, when we're making minutes, typed up minutes, and we put these discussions in here, sometimes there's a little variance of who thinks what,
Right.
Interpretation. And since it seems like almost every meeting we have changes, and it might just be easier to go to the motion minutes. But I'll send you guys a link so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
thanks, Leanne.
Well, anything else? No?
Yep,
Um,
was anybody down here during Santa's visit to the water park? Did you see, I've
was
heard great
busy.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There were
Donnie.
an awful lot of cars.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make it, but I heard it was a great event.
Mm.
So with the ACA and Lakewood Village, I thank them.
And to Donnie for putting up all the curtains and putting,
Oh,
keeping the
especially.
heaters on.
Yeah, well, I just heard wonderful things.
Yeah, I missed that, but I did make the parade. The Belfort Parade was a success, I think, for everybody. So that was great. And I'm having a Christmas party for Reed Real Estate, and I invited the port staff as well. So, and it will be noticed.
Costco cheesecake, yeah. Holly did confirm the 19th.
Very
She
good.
sent me a text back.
Okay.
And that's gonna be at 10?
Yes.
10 a.m.
And I'll send you the Zoom link and all that.
Okay. And I do plan on going to the Washington Public Ports Association annual meeting this week.
I
I'm a
will,
trustee and,
I'll also be there.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved. Thank you.
Have a Merry Christmas.